Hello, it's Alice Rhodes Arts, and it's time for a weekly craft. For this weekly craft, I am customizing a doll to make a moth creature for Halloween. I took the doll that's known to be Mothman's daughter. I'm gonna make her look actually more like a moth, because I don't really care for the design they went with for this monster. And I'm gonna base the moth off of the rosy maple moth because I just love the yellow and pink fuzzy moth. So I removed the head, and then I was taking the hair out with pliers, and then I moved on to working on the body with adding some pastels. It was taking too long to get all that hair out for the doll head, so I went ahead and moved to coloring the body. And I'm coloring the arms and legs pink to match the pink on the moths that I'm basing the doll off of. I'm going to cover it with fur, but I went ahead and wanted to get a pink base. And then I go over and trying to use acetone here and there to try to get the original paint off the face, but it's not really working out. I didn't have any 100% acetone in the house, so I went back to just working on the body for the time being. I just wanted to make sure it's full, both the legs and arms are fully covered pink before I added any fur, just in case any of the skin showed through. And I switch between using a few different pinks, using my brush, and I do blend with my fingers sometimes, and it created quite a mess. Like, I went over to use the acetone again to see if it was gonna work to get any of her face off, and at least it got all the pink pastel off the table. That's about all it did. Then I went ahead and I added heels with some paper clay. I'm just permanently attaching them to her feet because I was not going to make like actual like clothes for her. Now here I'm starting to glue on the fur. I got these feathery ribbon that I was gonna use, so I glue one side, and then I glue another strand on the other side, and then I glue some of the fur down around the arm to make sure it stays close. Then I would trim it, and then I added the pastel over it to make it the paint color. Because I couldn't find the exact color I wanted, so I thought it'd be easier just to get the white and then color it over with the pastels. It took a lot of trimming, and I still can't get rid of all the flyaways from that. I also, after that clay was dried, I went ahead and colored those pink as well, just in case anything showed through. And then I started to glue on the strands onto the legs, one in the front and then one in the back. And then I add glue to the sides to glue the fur down. It got really messy and everything was just kind of sticking to each other, but in the end it ended up working out pretty well, and I just went over and trimmed everything. And then did the pastels again. Then I moved onto the other leg. Yeah, and I'm just using tacky glue to glue all this down. My brush does have tacky glue like all over it. I do clean it off later. I just, in the process, wasn't too worried about it. I set that to dry, and then I try again with the face because now I actually was able to go to the store and get 100% acetone. So I get all off the face, and then I get all the back off as well. So I'm gonna give her yellow hair. So I don't want any of that black showing through. Now that it's dried, I go and trim the other leg. And then I use the pastel again to get it that nice light pink color. And I made sure to check the joints to make sure that she could still bend her legs with that over it. And then I started to blush the face. I'm putting a lot of pink in the front of the face because the rosy maple moth has like a very pink face, but it's just for the very front. And majority of the head on back is all yellow. So I'm just blushing the pink all over her cheeks, getting her nose and her lips. And then after that, I sprayed it, and then I go on with watercolor pencils to start drawing the face in. I just wanted her to have solid black eyes that went into a red gradient. And so it didn't take me long to get that pencil work in. After that, while that was finishing with the finishing spray setting on it, I went ahead and I carved out the moth wings. I use a suede material here to get the inside, and I marking out with chalk. The first wing I screwed up on size, so I had to make a new set, and then I go through and I'll mark it out in the fur, just tracing around my previous cut with the fabric chalk. Yeah, this is all scrap material I already had. After I had those all traced, I had to carefully cut the fox fur. I was having issues doing it while on the camera because you want to cut in between to make sure you don't cut any of the fur. And that was a little difficult to do on camera. Then after they're cut, I went and I sewed the pieces together, then flipped them inside out. Then I went ahead and started coloring the inside, the colors I wanted with the pastels. I go about pink, yellow, then pink stripes going down to match the wings of the rosy maple moth. Then after those were done, I went and I sprayed them all with a setting spray. And then I cut a piece of material out of the fake fur to use as like a scarf to go around her neck. Okay, now that everything's done with setting and everything, I start to work on her hair, and I decided to use the same fur ribbons I used on the body for her hair. First starting off by using them for her antennas. I just glued them right onto the antenna she already had on her, and then I trimmed them to make them match the shape a bit more. Then I slowly glued on those ribbons of fur just like I would yarn hair. It was kind of hard to fit a lot on the head with them, and it was really hard to not have it all just stick to each other. But eventually I did get the head fully covered and even got bangs on her, and then I just trimmed it to make it look a little more tame and everything at the same length. Be like a cute floofy bob. And then I went over with the pastels to get it the nice yellow color to match everything else. And this took a while just to make sure I had no white showing at all. And I trimmed around her antennas a bit more just to make sure you could see them and they weren't just blending in with the hair. And now after the other things were done drying, I went ahead and I started doing the back for the wings. Just following along the stripes from the front. And I was really running out of the pink that I was using, so I had to switch over to another pink for the second set of wings. As you can see, these other set, the pink on them is a bit lighter, but it kind of works because the rosy maple moth has slightly lighter coloring on the bottom wings. Alright, and now I move on to attaching everything. I lost some footage here, but what I'm doing is I'm sliding the wings on that I sewed earlier and sewing them to the wings that already existed on the doll so that they can move up and down. It was really awkward sewing it to them, but the final results worked and they're still movable, so I can change the position. And she even stands on her own with them. And then I used the yellow the yellow scarf I was working on earlier. I sewed that with the sewing machine at first, and then I hand sewed the last part on. And then it was time to attach her head. And that was a struggle to get on in itself, but you see she stands fine. And then I went ahead and I added fake lashes last. And that's her final look. Overall, I'm happy with how she came out. Certain parts were a bit of a struggle to get to work. But I hope she works for a Halloween themed doll. Just going with a more creepy but cute look with her solid black eyes. It took me a while to do this project, and I plan on doing more dolls in the future, so I'm thinking about just switching the weekly craft videos to a bi-weekly, so every other week posting, so you'll get maybe 2 a month. I do have one more Halloween video that I'm going to try to get up before the end of the month. And I'll be posting all these photos on my Instagram. And that's it for this weekly craft. Farewell for now.